just saw me talk to Sarah about problem-free talking, and you saw us connect with each other. And then we move on to step 2. And step 2 is called best hopes. Best hopes is where we really help the person that we are working with to gain clarity about what it is that they want to achieve from working with us. We help them to increase their motivation. We also turn negative goals around, and we also explore elements of the past. So I'm going to talk you through all the different questions that I use in the best hopes element. And after that, we're going to watch me and Sarah work, and you will see how I use it there. So the first question that I always ask someone is, what would you like to achieve from working with me? This is a really vital question, because sometimes what we have on the referral form is not always what the family wants to achieve from working with us. It might be what the health visitor wants or what the school wants. So in this case, therefore, it is really important, what would you like to achieve from working with me? And particularly if you listen to that sentence, what would you like to achieve from working together? That sentence is really important because it already talks about a partnership. So if this family, for example, would say, I want my children to behave better, then I go on to the next question, and I will ask them and I will say, so if your children would behave better, what will that look like? And we start to explore in detail. We create a detailed picture of what it actually looks like. If they are playing well together, if they are getting on together. So what you will see children who are smiling, who are laughing, they'll be sharing toys, they'll be playing football together. So we create a detailed picture as possible. Once we have a really detailed picture, and you will see me do that with Sarah, I'm going to help her to really create what it is that to create a picture of what it is that she wants to achieve from working with me. Once I've got an idea of what I will see, what is going on, what I hear, what I notice, when, Sarah has achieved that picture, I'm going to ask her that just imagine if you have achieved that picture. If you have achieved to, let's say, have a better relationship with your child, or if you have achieved that your children are getting on better together, what difference will that make? And that question is really important. The difference question really will help the other person to become more motivated, because just imagine that you have a better relationship with your child. What difference would that make for the parent? It would make them be more proud. If the children are getting on better together and you have a better relationship with them, you'll probably have more time for yourself. The children will be happier, you will be happier. And if you just think about it, for example, if your children are getting on better together, the benefits, the difference that it will make for the children's lives is that they will be able to make friends. So in every element of life, there are moments whereby you build friendships. So they'll be able to get on better at school and have better outcomes for their learning. So the longer we make that list, the more motivated the parent actually becomes. And we can do that by asking, to make that list really long, we can do that by keep asking what else. So they say something to you, then you say something back to them, or you repeat back what they said to you, and then you say, so what else? What else will make a difference for you? And you keep doing that. I always say I keep asking what else until they start staring at me with eyes of desperation. Because really, it is so important to come up with a long list, because the longer the list, the more they will be motivated and they will discover what's in it for them. So once you've done what difference will it make, that is the question that will, when people say a negative goal, I want my children to stop fighting. So what we do there, we say, instead of them fighting, what will they be doing instead? Because if you're only going to write down what they will be doing, if they're going to stop fighting, that actually doesn't mean anything. We need to know what it is that they are going to do. So we ask, what will they be doing instead? And the parent might say, they might be getting on together. And if they would, for example, say that, we go back to that first question and say, so if they're getting on together, what will that look like? There is a really important question whereby we can learn from the past. And that is when we ask the question, tell me about a time when you did manage, for example, to have a better relationship with your child. Or tell me about a time when your children did manage to get on. So all of these questions, it's not that I ask them in a particular order. Yes, I do ask, what would you like to achieve from working with me at the very beginning? But all the other questions you can juggle, because they provide you with information about the situation. And as soon as I feel I have that whole sort of picture and information that I need that I know where we're traveling to, what the new destination is, then I'm ready to move up to the next step, which is the skill, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But right now, I'm going to show you a part whereby me and Sarah are working together and we're doing all the questions that we've just discussed in the best hopes. All right, Sarah. What I really would like to know from you is, can you tell me what is it that you know, we're going to work together for a few weeks, or however long you want to work with me. What is it that you would like to achieve from working with me? And by the way, are you okay if I'm going to write down some notes? The reason why I want to write down some notes is because, well, basically I want to offer you the best service possible, the best support possible, and I'm going to write down all the things that I notice that are going well and everything that I think is useful information, so therefore it helps me to write it down. Are you okay with that?
Oh yes, no problem.
Okay. So what is it that you want to achieve from working with me?
Oh well, that's a no-brainer. That is, I would like Macy to behave better. I want all this running around and the defiance and the screaming to stop, for starters. Do you know, it's doing my head in. I mean, she just kicks off and there's no reasoning with her. I mean, she was more reasonable when she was 4. We just, and then I don't ever seem to do anything but open my mouth. It's not so much in the mornings. We're sort of all right in the mornings. I mean, obviously, you know, getting her out the door, but it's in the afternoons when she comes back from school, and she just goes mad, and I can't reason with her, and we do nothing but fight until she gets to bed, and then when she goes to bed, she doesn't settle. So getting her up in the mornings is something of a thing these days. It's just slid away.
Right.
It's just slid away.
Okay. So what I understand is that you want her to behave better.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Let's say that you and I are going to work, and let's say in 3 months' time, we've been really successful, and I would walk back into your house, and I would see you and Macy getting on, and I would see Macy behaving better. Can you tell me, what will I notice, what will you notice about Macy that will tell me that will tell us that she is behaving better? What will you see?
Well, for a start,
how will you know that she's behaving better?
The defiance would stop, the rudeness.
So what will there be instead of rudeness?
Well, back to the old Macy. It's like I'm dealing with somebody, like an enemy all the time. She seems so angry and wound up.
Tell me about the old Macy. If she would return to the old Macy.
Right, okay.
What will I see that will tell me that it's the old Macy?
Well, like, obviously she's in a school uniform and she likes to play, so the first thing I always say to her, and we've done this from the day she started, you know, infants, you come in, get out your school uniform, darling. And I mean, at those days, I used to give her a bit of a hand, but she's a big girl now, she can do it all on her own.
Okay, so she would get out her school uniform?
Yeah, she'd take her school uniform off, no problems. I always had laid out on the bed her clothes, and if she didn't want to wear that, we'd talk about it.
Okay.
But now, blow me down, she walks in and, you know, out your school uniform, Macy. No, I won't. And we go from there. We go from there.
So what I understand is you want her to behave better.
Yes.
And one of the ways that you would, if we would be successful at this, one of the ways that you would note, what you will notice is that she would take her uniform off and would put it away nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even say, oh, you've got to hang it up or all of that. As long as she leaves it on the bed, I'll do that, because, you know, she is 6, okay. Hangers and things at that age. But all she has to do is take her uniform off, put it on the bed, put her other clothes on.
So she would take her uniform off, put her other clothes on. What else will we notice about the old Macy or the new Macy that, you know, if we're going to be successful? Tell me, what about the way you and her are connecting with each other, communicating? If we are going to be successful, what will I notice that will tell me that we've been successful?
Well, the other thing is food, you know, eating. I mean, she's always had a good appetite, and I'm of the generation, I mean, I was brought up, you ate what's on your plate and all the rest of it. I don't, if she's not hungry, that's fine. But when I say to her, oh, what do you fancy for tea? And she'll go, nothing. these days, and she just throws it back. And I say to her, well, you've got to have some tea.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, she's had her packed lunch, and she'll say something stupid like jelly or sweets or something like that. And you're thinking, where's this coming from? I mean, I wonder what they do at that school sometimes.
So,
she never used to be like this.
All right, Sarah, what I'm noticing...
Sorry,
okay.
it's just, you know,
It must be really tough dealing with that and the stress of the writing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really understand that.
It's just, I was doing my head in, be honest.
What I'm noticing is when I ask you what we will notice if we've been successful, that you kind of still focus on what Macy does right now, what she does kind of wrong. But I want you to try to visualize and sort of describe to me if Macy is behaving in a better way, as you would like her to.
Yeah.
What will you notice about her? You already said that she'll be taking off her uniform, putting it away, put on other clothing. Well, tell me about how you and her would be connecting and communicating together if she would be behaving in a way that you would like her to behave.
Well...
How will you two will be connecting?
Well, like, when we used to talk, I'd say to her, well, what do you fancy for tea tonight? Or I'd say, I've got such and such, you know, ready for tea. I'd say, what about pizza, mashed potato and some beans or something from the garden?
Yeah.
And
how will she respond? Because you said now she's sort of shouting or quite irritated. If she's going to behave better, how will she sort of respond to you? What kind of tone of voice? And
she'd say, oh yeah, that'd be great, Granny. And then often she used to come downstairs and I'd let her, you know, grate some of the cheese. I always made sure that she didn't go too close to the grate, so you know, I didn't give her anything that would hurt her or anything. And she would like to mash the potato and stuff like that. But I mean, I am aware, I do know that right now with the writing and things, I don't have time at the moment for all of this, and I suppose mostly these days I put on one of her videos and I say to her, look, just sit down, sweetie, and we'll sort that all out later.
Okay.
And but be honest, even when I'm trying and I think, you know, we ought to get back, and I know, and I've got the manuscript there, and I'm trying to, and I'm thinking about it in my head so I don't lose the thread. But even then, she just kicks off. She just...
Well, let's go back a little bit. When I ask you what it is that you want to achieve from working with me, you said I want Macy to behave better.
Yes.
What I've got from you so far is that she will take her uniform off and that she will maybe respond in a happier tone if you ask her something. What else will you notice about if we've been successful? What else will you notice that will tell you that Macy is behaving better?
She's not so angry.
Okay, so if she is not so angry, what will she be instead?
Oh, back to the old Macy.
Tell me about the old Macy.
She was always such a bright, happy little thing. I mean, you know, she'd beetle in, it was like a little ray of sunshine. I used to look forward to her coming home from school, and we'd sit down and we'd do her reading book together, and she was always chattering about what she was doing at school, and we'd play a couple of games. She's a fiend for games.
Okay.
Beat your neighbours out of doors. We've had marathon runs with beat your neighbours out of doors.
You said you were playing games?
Yes.
What kind of games did you play?
Well, board games. She likes dominoes. She likes Snap and beat your neighbours out of doors. We've got the kiddies Scrabble game. She likes playing that. Shopping list. Red dog, blue dog. You know, all those kinds of kiddies games, and also the Hellmanism game. You know, where they've got to guess that. She's really good at that. She's been ever so good at that ever since she was 3.